Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A.Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about are periods more painful in the perimenopause. Now if you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure that you get notified of all my new weekly videos. So are periods more painful in the menopause? We do get a lot of queries about this. As your periods start to change, then other things can happen as well, and a lot of women start to get confused about whether things are okay, whether that's supposed to happen, or whether it's not okay. So I thought I would go through this week. So yes, the perimenopause is when your periods start to change as you approach the menopause. At this point, your periods can become closer together, they can become longer, they can become heavier, or they can do the complete opposite. They can start to miss, they can get further apart, they can get lighter. You might find you're only having one period every 3 months or so. So both of these are kind of normal, if you like, but they can affect how you feel and also cause a lot of pelvic discomfort. So what can happen if your periods start to get closer together or longer? You can end up getting low in iron, and iron can have quite a few health issues all of its own. So this is something that you really need to watch if you've had more than a couple of periods that go on for a little bit longer or a little bit heavier than normal. The problem is that when you start to miss periods, all that's happening is your estrogen is not getting high enough each month to trigger a period, but there is still a build up in the lining of the uterus, and once that releases when you have a period, that can cause a lot of spasming, and that can give you a lot of cramping and pain as well. The problem is here that other symptoms can be a factor as well. As your estrogen starts to fall, so this could be when you're starting to miss periods, lower estrogen decreases or increases your pain perception. So you will feel pain more than what you would normally. The other thing that can happen here is that as your estrogen starts to change, that can affect your absorption of magnesium. And especially if you're not getting enough magnesium in your diet, then low magnesium will contribute to stomach cramping, and that will include the uterine cramping when you get a period. The other things that can cause a lot of pain in the pelvic area, so we're talking about this area around about the kind of belly and belly button area. Other things that can happen as you approach the menopause and go into the menopause, you can have fibroids. Now these may well have been diagnosed, but what can happen is that a lot of women can have tiny little fibroids in the womb that never cause any particular problem, but as the hormones start to change, these may be aggravated, they may start to increase in size, and that in itself can cause a lot of pain and discomfort. You can get polyps as well. These are other types of growth inside the womb. There can be something called pelvic inflammatory disease, and this is where just some of the organs within the pelvic area, such as the womb, can start to get inflamed, and that can cause practically constant discomfort as well. It could also be a prolapse. Now a prolapse is where the organs in this particular area, so that's mainly your bladder, your womb and your bowel, they can shift position. So you've got what's called the pelvic girdle muscles that basically hold everything up, and these tend to weaken with age, and if they start to sag, then especially these organs in the pelvic area can shift position, and that can very often give a lot of pain and discomfort. Some people find they get a kind of dragging feeling, or that there's a constant pressure in that particular area, very often, especially if they sit down or if they do that little bit of exercise. The other thing that can happen, as I mentioned before, is if you start to miss your periods, there's still this build up in the womb, and that can cause particular problems when you get a period. The other thing that can happen is that you can get period pain without a period. So you might find that you've missed your period for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, but every month, round about the time you would have had a period, you start to get cramping, and you might get other PMS symptoms back, such as breast tenderness, sugar craving, bloating, all that kind of picture. All that's happening in this instance is that your hormones, your estrogen, you're still getting a monthly cycle with your hormones, but the estrogen is just not high enough to trigger a bleed. And for some women, this kind of monthly phantom cycle, if you like, can go on for quite a while before everything starts to ease off. So there's a number of factors here that can all contribute to what we would call pelvic discomfort whilst you're going through the perimenopause. So what can you do to help yourself? It's a number of things that can help. A lot of women find that just lying with a hot water bottle on this area can help to ease the pain and discomfort. It's quite soothing. It's important to cut down on things like your caffeine and also high salt and sugar foods as well. We know that these can make symptoms like this worse. So just watch your daily intake of things like caffeine, fizzy drinks, fruit juices, and high salt and sugar foods as well. Exercise can often help. Now, I'm not talking about going mad. One of the best exercises for the pelvic area and for your digestion is walking, because as you walk, this helps to massage the internal organs, your digestive tract and the womb and the bowel and the bladder. And very often, because you're doing a little bit of exercise, that's also increasing the blood flow to this area, and that can make a difference as well. So just a nice gentle 10-15 minute walk at some point during the day can often be of benefit to help this one. Especially if these are happening at night, some women find that sort of lying on their side in the fetal position seems to help. It seems to relax everything. It seems to relax the muscles, so you're not getting as much cramping. If you're getting the cramping with heavy period, prolonged periods, periods that are close together, then as long as you're not on any other hormonal contraception or medication, you can look at the herb Agnus castus. This is known to be quite helpful at regulating periods, and in the process may help to decrease the discomfort as well. The only thing with this one, it takes about 3 months, 2 to 3 months to start showing benefit, so it's not a quick fix. The other thing is magnesium. Low magnesium, as I mentioned before, can interfere with muscle function and give you the cramps, and a quick fix of magnesium can often work wonders for this type of period pain and cramping. So it's worth adding into your diet if you get this on a regular basis. Water as well, you know, remember the water, because dehydration will make absolutely everything worse. And last but not least is constipation. If your whole area, you imagine this area here, it's got your digestive tract in it, it's got your womb, your bladder and your bowel in there as well. And if you are constipated, if you're getting a lot of bloating, this is going to put pressure on everything else, and that can cause a lot of discomfort. The problem we know in the perimenopause is that as your estrogen starts to fall, this can affect your digestion, and constipation and bloating and sluggishness is much more common. So this is one situation. If you find that you're getting sluggish bowels, or you're tending to get constipated, this needs to be sorted as well. So loads of water for this. You can take gentle laxatives short term, such as our Lino Force, just to get things moving again. And remember to make sure that you're getting plenty of fresh vegetables and fruits and a little bit of good healthy fibre in order to keep everything moving really well. One other really important thing here: pelvic pain, as I mentioned, can be caused by lots of different things. If the pain is going on, if you've tried these little tips and found that they haven't worked, if the pain is getting worse, if it's getting to the point where you're having to rely on painkillers on a daily basis, then please seek medical advice. Go to your doctor, get this checked out, just to make sure that there's nothing else going on, or that there's nothing that the doctor can't help with. So hopefully this has given you a few little tips. If any of you out there have experienced more period pain and you found something that really helps you, please let us know. We would love to hear your tips as well. So until next week, have a good week, and I'll see you for more A.Vogel Talks Menopause.